A lot of people ask me on Instagram for help, and that's why I put together this course.
What's the feeling like when you had $1 million in the bank? Was it an anticlimax, or did it feel?
Yeah, it
unreal?
weren't great. I mean, if I'm honest, I actually had like £70 short, and I transferred money from my personal account just so I could take a screenshot. If you're trying to get to a destination or to a point which is, above average, then you need to do above average things, and you need to push yourself to the absolute maximum. I had 3 cars, had the big house in the private estate, and as I said, I got out of the house, moving into a 2-bedroom flat, got rid of all the cars, just kept one. Sometimes I think you have to get these things and achieve these things just to see if they are the answer. I got reminded when I was on holiday in Brazil. We were on the beach, and I thought, I'll go in the water one more time. I thought I'll go in the middle, and that was the biggest mistake of my life, because I was in there swimming for about 10 minutes, and when I had enough, I tried to get out. I couldn't get out. I literally thought I was finished. I don't know how I got this last bit of energy to just drag myself out. When I finally got out and I collapsed on the thing, he came up to me and he said, "Oh, I saw you were struggling." I said, "Yeah, but you didn't fuck it out."
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Multipliers Club, episode 49. And today we are here with a food and beverage heavyweight of the game. If you haven't heard of him or the brand, you've probably been living under a rock. He owns 157 stores, and he's done that in 87 months. It is the owner, CEO of Fireaway, Mario Aleppo.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you
Nice
for coming
to
on.
be
How are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Long time in the making. We've been trying to set it up for.
Because you're kind of locals. We're like, you actually
we need
been
him.
someone for
We
a
need
while.
this guy.
Got there in the end.
First of all, before we come on to Fireaway, we was all intrigued to know, watching your Fireaway journey, it looks like you've just gone 0 to 100. Well, you have gone 0 to 100, the fastest growing pizza brand in the UK. Businesses before that, surely you must have had a few failures, lessons in there before you've come into this business.
Yeah, there was a couple. There was a coffee shop. There was a car wash, which never really happened, but there was a coffee shop which lasted about 6 months. So there was a lot of lessons in there, but ultimately that failed after about 6-7 months.
What would you say was the biggest takeaway, biggest lesson from the coffee shop?
Just the fact that you can fail. I think that was the biggest one. That not everything that you start will succeed, and knowing when to give up probably was the main things. Yeah.
Some people do give up as well, don't they? After
Yeah, I
they'll
think
try
you have
one
to give
business
up.
but then they won't even try
Oh
anything
yeah,
else.
give up
People won't go.
give up in the bigger sense of the word, but knowing when to give up on like the smaller obstacles.
So what was the gap following that business before setting up Fireaway?
Yeah, about 1.5 years, 2 years. I had a job in between that as a charity fundraiser on the street, annoying people, trying to.
Mate, that's a hard job.
That's good as well. I mean, that taught. I think you can take lessons from everything that you do in life. So that was very hard on sales, focused on sales, and again building confidence, speaking to random people. So I think that that helped in a way.
How did you get on with that?
Yeah, I think 3 months I lasted, because obviously they're not going to keep paying you if you're not signing people up. But it was all right. It was like I said, it was good while it lasted, but it wasn't really for me.
So let's talk Fireaway then. So how did it all start? So 1.5 years later, walk us through the journey. Where did it all begin?
I was debating whether to open a Subway. I found a shop, saved up some money, had the meetings with Subway, and then at the last minute changed my mind, because it seemed too much like a job, opposed to having your own business. There was a lot of rules and regulations. I had the shop, so I had to think of something else to do pretty quickly. So decided to keep the kind of Subway layout, but do pizza, being half Italian. It's a popular product, so yeah, kept it the same. Called it Fireaway instead of Subway, and
There we go. That's where the name
I
comes
didn't even
from.
clock that.
Yeah,
so
Fireaway was
Fair play.
born.
yeah, and it went well. So that's basically how it started. Yeah, it wasn't planned. It was a bit of a last minute spin-off of what I originally intended to do.
At that particular time, were you just thinking that what's going to happen now? You got the shops. Is it? I assume that's rented, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and you signed a 12-month lease,
No, 10 years.
10-year lease.
Yeah,
Oh wow,
So you had the long-term vision from the beginning.
To be honest, I couldn't find anything less than 10 years. If I had found something less, I probably would have taken it to be on the safe side. But that was the kind of the average lease, so I just ended up taking that.
Did you go in with a friend, or was you just was you bouncing ideas off friends, or was you just literally like, right, pizza, that's gonna work. I'm just gonna go full heavyweight into that.
You know, it was my group of friends at the time. There was a lot of, I mean, most of the time we were just sitting around doing nothing, you know, having a drink, just wasting time. But there was a lot of talk, mainly probably from me, about what business we should do. Should we do this? Should we do that? And there was a lot of talk about it, but then it got to the point that it was just continuous talk. And I think there was no action. So sometimes you have to just do things on your own, you know, instead of waiting for other people. So yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
When you were starting that, was the vision always to expand it? Obviously, if it went well, was you looking to
just literally one shop, a business for me to like not have to work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And just a business for me to have like a decent amount of money from, and just that was it. There was no plans on like opening more than like 1 or 2 shops.
But in order to make the next moves that you did so quickly, was you straight away from early on working on the business rather than in the business, or was you actually in the shops?
No, I was more in the business and on the business, mainly due to the fact that they have like a big amount in the bank to pay other people. So obviously you have to do it yourself. So that's how you can kind of get sucked into the business without having much time to actually look at it from like a bird's eye view and make a more strategic plan, because you're too busy delivering pizzas. So yeah, that was difficult. But then as it got more successful, and then as people showed interest in franchising, then it gave me a bit of time to like step back and look at it from the out.
So did people come to you about the franchise idea first? Like you didn't think you didn't really think about it that much?
No, it crossed my mind, but it wasn't really. I didn't really maybe think that it could work. Maybe the self-belief wasn't really there that this thing that I had created could, you know, be franchisable or to grow to a bigger level. But then when one of the customers came in and said, would you be interested in franchising it? Then I said, yeah, why not? And he done it. So it kind of blew up from there.
And that decision, right, that to not get the subway even though you had the shop and everything, some people would have just done it anyways, even though and it's gone ahead because I thought, I'm so deep into this now, I've got this shop, I'm just going to do the subway even though there's a few red flags. But that decision that you made to not do it is turned out the best, right?
Yeah, definitely. It turned out the best. At the time, I made the decision just because I didn't really want to be like contracted into anything. I wasn't looking for a job. So that's probably what scared me off. But yeah, as you said, it turned out for the best.
What was the setup cost of that first one? How much did you have to go up front before you sold your
everything
first
I got for like half, like second hand off eBay, the oven, the fridges, the freezers. My mates done the building work and they let me pay them back like gradually. So all in all, like setup cost probably about 40-50 grand max. Yeah.
How long did it take you to break even? Did you do it in the first year? Like, how soon were you making profit with the first location?
So we were breaking even in terms of like the monthly, the weekly expenses. So in terms of like rent, food, bills, wages, that we pretty much were covering within the first few weeks. But then to start making profit and then to get back the 50 grand that I put in, that probably took about maybe a year.
That's still pretty good going. Like, you just set up a pizza shop. Like, did you do any research into like the area you're setting up or anything? You just thought shop.
Blagged it all my
Really?
Yeah.
What area was the first one in?
It was in Rose Hill. It was like a small little town between Mitcham and Sutton. It's not like a town. It's like
it's a roundabout, right?
Yeah, it's like a roundabout. Yeah, that's all there is.
Why do you think you smashed it so well with that one store? You think it's footfall? Do you think it was the customers?
It was right next to KFC, which helped. Footfall wasn't great. The branding, I think, stood out from the rest of the shops in the area.
Orange.
Yeah, orange
that
and
colour.
black. It was a clean shop, which compared to some of the shops on that bit, it wasn't.
Hygiene rating was good.
Yeah, that helped.
You always got to look at the hygiene ratings, man.
KFC.
And the reviews, Google reviews as well.
Yeah, it's big. I feel like in today's economy, before going to a restaurant, you always look at the reviews first, right? So 100%. What kind of steps did you take in the first year to really focus or build the brand, which is now one of the biggest franchises in the UK food-wise?
I can remember pretty much from the beginning, when the shop closed, like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. I would go around putting like leaflets in businesses' doors. We paid someone to do like the houses, but in terms of like local businesses, I can remember literally from pretty much the get-go, I was putting leaflets in businesses' doors at like midnight till like 2 in the morning, at least a few days a week. So we had like a lot of local businesses ordering for lunch. Social media at the time had just really kind of picked up, so we were spending a little bit on that. Collaborations, we had a few like music people in, just leafleting and social media really.
It's being strategic, like different marketing strategies.
Yeah, at the beginning that was about it. It was mainly word of mouth, if I'm honest with you. In the beginning it was mainly word of mouth. It was something different. It was like an Italian restaurant standard pizza, but in a kind of fast foody, young, youthful kind of branding. So it was a mix of.
I was going to ask, so like you obviously do the fired pizzas, right? So you're right in what you're saying. It's different from just your normal fast food pizza.
Yeah.
Was that always the vision for you to stand out, to bring something new to the food and beverage market?
100%. I think to stand out from the competition, there was no point just opening like another pizza shop. Yeah, we had to come with something different. So I think the fact that the fire was there, you could see the fire, you could see the food being cooked. All the toppings were out as like Subway do, so you can see that it was fresh. The pricing was very, very good. Probably even too good to the point where we had to increase it because we were busy, but we weren't really making that much money.
Yeah.
So it was good because people were like, oh, you're busy, you know, you're doing well, but we weren't really, anyone can be busy. You
Well, you're £1 per hour, haven't you, really?
Yeah, we had to put the price up. So so I think it was a mix of the branding, the pricing, and the and just
And bagging pizzas, right?
Yeah,
They must have
are
tasted
good.
nice,
Yeah,
innit,
they
to
are
blow.
good pizzas.
And it's quick.
We
as
should have
well,
got one here today, man.
I think it's the is it the barbecue boss pizza? That's a good pizza.
Yeah.
And the milkshakes, the Lotus milkshakes, that one real.
they bang, yeah.
They're great. So like at what stage did you realise that this was gonna be the business that was gonna make you go clear to the point you are now? Was it quite early on or did it take a while?
Probably after the first 18 months. I think by 18 months we had 4 shops. So at the time, 4 shops in 18 months, that was quite good. 2 of them were ours and 2 of them were franchises. And then to be fair, even probably in my head after the first one, after that guy opened one down the road, straight away I was thinking, he's replicated it, so we can continue to replicate it.
And so how many now do you own yourself under control, and how much?
What in total?
How many is the franchisees?
Well, we own 1.
Oh, you only own one?
Yeah.
The original one?
It's enough headache one. Isn't it? One.
But you
Not
have
the original one now. We opened another one in Clapham, quite a big one.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
On the high street, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there like 3 o'clock in the morning.
We went after your
After Aqua.
someone's birthday. One of
Yeah,
your
that's it,
birthdays.
yeah.
Do you remember we went to a Fireaway? It was somewhere strange, like Worthing, just to get a Kinder cookie. After a meeting like 2 or 3 years ago, and you look like, oh my god, these cookies are unreal.
I think by sounds of it, the food is like a real big pull as well.
The food has to be good. It has to be better than the competition at that price point.
How big a part has the likes of Uber, Deliveroo, those type of guys played?
I think in this industry, I mean, they've again come with something new, like a platform, and they've pretty much taken control of the market. So although they take a massive commission, and they're a headache to deal with, at the same time they bring customers through the door. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So I think they're a necessary evil. They take a lot from you, but they give you customers at the same time. So I think the best thing to do is, if I'm being fully honest, is to just use them and try and convert the customers. But it's easier said than done because it's habit that people can just pull out their phone, go on Deliveroo, on Uber and order. So for you to get them to be one of your direct customers is very difficult.
It makes sense. So there's many businesses that an entrepreneur could franchise. What do you feel sets you apart from the rest? Because for you to get 157 stores means that you have a very good business model, what people want to be a part of. So if you want to franchise a Fireaway, what do you look for and what criteria has to be met? How do you do it?
I think the first thing is we're very reasonable on like pricing compared to the competition, and that's because we're not really in a rush to make a load of money. We're more interested in like growing the brand. So that's probably helped us quite a bit because we haven't been trying to like squeeze franchisees. And in terms of what do we do to, filter the applications for franchisees, now we look at experience, we look at finances, because what we found is, you know, you need money in this business to like push it. You can have all the willpower in the world, but if you haven't got like a budget to push on marketing, and that is, it's very difficult. So we look at that, and we look at experience. If they now we got a lot of like ex-franchisees from other pizza brands as well, so, and fast food brands, so then people know what they're doing, so they're good to have on board.
I'm actually a franchisee myself, and
Yeah,
like
don't say
there's
Domino's.
it's in travel. But
Okay.
like I find with the bigger brand, like they have so much control over a lot of elements, and like leaves me little freedom.
Yeah.
How much freedom do you give your guys, like in terms of marketing and going out there and representing the brand?
In that respect, we give them a lot of freedom, but in other respects, like people ask like silly questions where they say, "Oh, can we change the menu? Can we add this? You know, can we do this?" And then you think, well, you might as well do your own thing then, because if you're trying to like stray too far away from the brand, then you might as well just do your own thing. So in terms of marketing, yeah, pretty much like free reign. They can push it as much as they can in any sort of creative ways that they can think of. But in terms of like changing things, we don't really allow that.
Speaking about marketing, it must have been years ago. I saw one of your guys' marketing stunts, and I thought it was genius. It went on I'm Just Bait. It was a weed grow. I'm sure it was a weed grow inside one of the Fireaway stores, and it went viral, right? That was genius. Who was the mastermind behind that?
Really?
What is it?
Yeah.
What gave you that idea?
I'll be honest. I saw basil being grown in an sorry, in an organic shop in London. And it just came to me that, you know, we use fresh basil as well, and it looks a lot like a weed grow. So how can we incorporate that in? And one of the shops had some delays with like the building work, so we thought we might as well make the most of like the front of the shop. So yeah, we done that. It was good.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah, it's
That
good.
is genius.
Free
It's
marketing
very good.
as well,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah,
Apart from a
yeah.
couple of plants.
Yeah.
That is
Another
mad.
one, I parked the Fireaway Lamborghini outside of a franchise show in London, and popped in there quickly. But I parked on a double red line, and then when I came out, the car was being lifted by the local council. So
Planned.
I can't say I can't, but yeah, it got lifted onto a tow truck and then taken like through central London to the Pound. So they just done a tour of London with this bright orange Lamborghini with Fireaway down the side.
Nice.
That was good.
Did that get some publicity as well?
Yeah. That was on blog pages as well.
So do you guys, what's the support network for the franchisees? Like, do you have like, I don't know, is there like group chats or discords
Yeah.
where you give ideas and tips or
Yeah.
training?
We got WhatsApp groups, like a whole one, a big one. Then we got ones for each specific shops. Then we got master franchisees for each area. Then we got area managers for each area. Then we got a marketing team. So there is support, but you got to bear in mind, it does kind of balance out with how much you're charging. Obviously, the more you're charging someone, the more support you can give them. However, if people are looking to not pay as much, then obviously, you know, it balances out.
Oh, so you can charge different.
No, I'm saying
amounts
we
for-
decided to charge a little less,
got
but
you.
then we leave a lot of the marketing down to the franchisees, which has its pros and cons as well.
So how can you say how much is it to set up your own
So
franchise store?
to set up a shop, it's about 150 grand, and then the ongoing costs are about £1,000 a month
Okay.
per shop.
And what do they get with that initial setup?
They get everything, like the design, the building, the construction, the training, the head chef for the beginning. Yeah, pretty much everything to get going.
Okay.
With the franchise element, 157 stores, what kind of challenges does that face to ensure you keep the pristine brand?
Multiple. The quality of the product. Obviously, you've got 157 different people, each with their own different chefs and staff, all trying to keep a consistent product. So you got that issue. You got the customer service issue. You got the delivery time issue. You've got the shop hygiene issue. You've got it's got pros and cons to franchising. Obviously, you can expand very quickly with not a lot of investment from your personal side, and at the same time, you got a lot of people that can fuck up the brand as well.
So
Got to be done.
who in the industry or other industries do you look up to or inspired by?
In terms of the food industry, there's a few out there that have expanded, you know, really quickly and have taken like a large chunk of the market. I won't mention any pizza ones, but in terms of the food industry, there's a lot. In terms of clothing ones, I think that Trapstar, Reese Wabara with the MDV, they're smashing it. Gymshark, obviously, and then in terms of, I mean, there's different industries and there's people that get involved even outside the industry. So I've got a lot of respect for them, especially people in like the music game that have invested in other things like alcohol brands like Blade Brown, and then you've got you've got platforms that are making, you know, ridiculous money. The same like Deliveroo, Uber, and Just Eat. You've got a lot of, as you can see, like blog pages, Ants with I'm Just Bait. I think people have created something big out of pretty much nothing as well. So I think you've got to, hats off to them. They've done really well.
They're all marketeers, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think you have to, or at least employ someone.
Would you say that's the most important part of the business, the marketing?
I think it's equal because there's no point marketing, you know, something that's crap. I think it might get you so far, but there's no longevity in it. So I think there needs to be a balance between, you know, the push and the product.
You strike me as someone who gets into business and just fails fast. But have you ever had a mentor that's helped you get through challenges?
No. I mean, I've watched like YouTube videos and Instagram videos, but I've never actually had a personal mentor that I can just like call up and ask questions, which is kind of why I put together this short course where it gives like the basics, you know, because I know if I had someone myself to ask, you know, advice, support or anything, I would have made a lot less mistakes and probably would have saved a lot of money, but more importantly got to this destination a lot quicker. Whereas if you have to make them mistakes and learn by them yourself, it can set you back, not just financially, but obviously time-wise, because you can't get back the time.
I find that so interesting because you're by far one of the most successful people we've had on the podcast, and other successful people we've had on the podcast, if you notice, lads, they haven't hired mentors, whereas we've spent thousands, tens of thousands of pounds on mentors.
Yeah, we love a mentor, innit?
Yeah, but I think the problem is a lot of these mentors aren't qualified to actually mentor. Some are massively credible, but it leads me on
We've
to
had some good ones, innit?
I think you've got to be careful of the mentors that only make money from mentoring and not what they're mentoring about.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, you know, there's loads of people on Instagram and wherever you look, and they're selling courses about whether it's property or, you know, building brands or clothing or anything. And then you do some research and they're only really making money from the courses, not from what they're supposedly so successful at doing. So I think you need to do your own research before you know, pay someone.
Definitely. So over the years, when you were on the come up, were you ever approached by potential mentors? Did you ever entertain the idea, or was it just never something?
I don't think mentors really reach out to look for customers, or well, at least they shouldn't. I suppose it doesn't really give the greatest look if they're coming to you. I think if you're looking for a mentor, then I think you just need to, as I said, do your research and look for someone who's done it already and who's made the mistakes, and then, you know, learn from. A lot of people ask me on Instagram for help, and that's why I put together this course.
What's in the course? What do you cover?
It's like the basics. So the basics in terms of business, the basics in terms of marketing, branding, basically the things that help me. And I think it's about 4 hours long. It's about 95 quid. So I think I think it's good. We've had a lot of good feedback, but a lot of people don't want to pay nothing. So, you know, so I think you value something more if you pay for it, and it's 95 quid. If you can't pay 95 quid for some knowledge and, you know, information,
Definitely shouldn't be getting into franchising.
probably
Right? Like, it's just
go back to bed.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. If you're not going to invest 95 quid for your future, then don't start a business.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Harry, so how can people find your course? And Harry, if you could just edit the course link around Mario's head.
It's just my name.com, marioaleppo.com.
Okay, great.
Nice and easy.
So a question I've got for you is, when was the moment when you realised that you went clear? Was there like a pivotal moment, and if so, what was that?
I'm a kind of person that worries a lot, so I don't think I've ever had or ever will have a moment where I can kind of relax, which is good and bad at the same time. But I think looking forward, if I ever sell the business and then, you know, it's fully done, that's when I probably can relax. But in terms of made it to a point where you can kind of relax or kind of at least feel a bit more comfortable, probably when I bought my house or when I hit like, I don't know, £1 million in the bank. That's even then you always worry. Well, I always worry about what could go wrong. But yeah, if I had to choose a moment, it would probably be that.
What was the feeling like when you had $1 million in the bank? Was it an anticlimax, or did it feel?
Yeah, it
unreal?
weren't great. I mean, if I'm honest, I actually had like maybe £70 short, and I transferred money from a personal account just so I could take a screenshot. If I'm being honest, you know. So yeah, it went. It was good for like take a picture and send to my mum, but apart from that, it was. Then next day it went slightly down, then it goes slightly up, and then it's
Like the
just,
stock
it's just
market.
a number at the
yeah.
It's just a number in the bank at the end of the day, innit? So yeah, it weren't a great feeling, but there was a kind of sense of achievement. Yeah.
Have you sold your house now? You sold the house. That house you got.
No.
Oh, no, you
I've
didn't.
I decided to rent it out because it's way too big for me. It was a bit pointless. And that comes with its own headaches and maintenance and issues. So yeah, I moved out a couple of months ago, renting it to a family from America.
You mentioned that you worry quite a lot. Do you feel like that could be a reason to your success? And what would you say it is you worry about?
I think you got to take risks in business, innit? If no one took risks, then there would be no reward, and everyone would just there would be no massive achievements or massive jumps in terms of business. So I think taking risks is, I think you can still worry, but still take the risk. I think worrying is good because it means you're cautious and you think maybe too much about things. But when I say worry, I don't mean don't take risks or don't do anything, just spend your time worrying. I think it's good to worry, but don't worry for too long, you know, just think about it and then make a decision.
Take a calculated risk.
Yeah, calculated
100%.
risk.
I read the other day that successful people always worry that they're not doing enough, and then unsuccessful people do a half day and then just put their feet up.
Yeah.
Like they've had a good day, right?
Yeah, I think you could. It's good to relax and you don't want to burn out. It's good to find a balance. But if you're trying to get somewhere, if you're trying to get to a destination or to a point which is, you know, above average, then you need to do above average things and you need to push yourself to the absolute maximum. And you know that involves making sacrifices. And I suppose each to their own, innit? You need to decide what works for you and what you want to do. But I wouldn't say just copy everyone else. I'd say just find out what works for you.
What's your next goals? Because obviously you've got the house, and then you've decided, oh no, the house is too big, so you've like scaled back your lifestyle by sounds of it. Got the Lambo.
Yeah, I had 3 cars at the big house in the private estate, and as I said, I got out of the house, moving into a 2-bedroom flat, got rid of all the cars, just kept one. Sometimes I think you have to, or at least in my opinion for myself, get these things and achieve these things just to see if they are the answer, and then when you realize they're not the answer, at least you can know for sure that they're not the answer.
Yeah, that's where we're all at.
Yeah,
Everyone
you know.
says, but everyone who comes on who's done well says, oh, the cars don't even matter. The big house, it doesn't. When you get it, you got it, and then you're like, oh wow, well cool, that's it now. So it's like don't chase it, but I feel like I'd still have to.
We
chase
still
it,
need to
right?
experience
You
it.
know,
Yeah,
I
you
have
still
to
wanna-
experience it.
100% you do. That's what I mean. I think no matter what people tell you, unless you can see it for yourself, then it's very difficult because you feel like you're missing something.
What about on the business? What's the next steps? What's the next goals on the business side of things?
So I've stepped back a bit in terms of like the UK operations.
Okay.
So I'm focusing more on the what we've got going on internationally. So we've got a shop in Turkey, Portugal, Amsterdam. I'm focusing on that a little bit more, and then at the same time, it gives me an opportunity to do a bit of traveling as well.
Nice. And in terms of that support still of like the head chef and stuff in these countries, how
Yeah, we
they're
send
still
him over.
providing- Oh really?
Yeah, we send him over,
wow.
so he gets a bit of a holiday as well, something different. Yeah.
So you just have one head chef.
1, 2.
He's done like all of the.
He's been there for the
100
first. He's been there for like the last 4 years, and then we had another guy who was the head chef. He's been there since the beginning, but he's got like a different role now.
So he's like quality control to make
Yeah.
sure that everything gets done
Mm-mm.
exactly.
That's good because I've noticed. I mean, take Nando's for an example. I love Nando's.
Yeah.
Right? But in Dubai, it's different. Nando's
Yeah,
in Dubai
yeah.
is different. Are you looking to keep the same flavors, the same design? Or are you looking to
I think
switch it up slightly to adapt?
you can't. Yeah, you have to adapt to certain countries and demographics. Yeah, definitely, you have to adapt your business depending on where it is. In my opinion, yeah.
It makes sense. So you mentioned about destination earlier. What is the final destination for you for Fireaway?
I think to just build it up to near enough what our main competitors have done with theirs, and if I'm honest, sell it and keep like a small percentage, which can then be passed on, you know. But that's it. Just build it up. I think it's you shouldn't get too attached, which I did in the beginning. You know, I don't think you should get too attached to your business. Like, it's a business, and it's there to make money. If it wasn't, then you'd open like a charity. You know, it's a business. So I think there's a difference between business owners and entrepreneurs, and then like serial entrepreneurs that have multiple businesses. It's like it's like building multiple machines that just print money, but without getting too attached to them. I think that's that would be the plan. I think there's a lot more things, I think there's a lot more important things in life to get attached to than businesses.
What would be your advice to an entrepreneur that might be listening to this, who might be a little bit too attached to his business? Like, how do you detach?
With difficulty, but I think in the beginning it's very difficult not to be attached because you need to be inside of the business. You basically need to be the business. But then when you get to a certain point where the business doesn't need you, and I think it should never really need you when it's fully set up, then you need to recruit people, and that's another side of a business. The recruitment is an important, you know, part of the business, which as a business owner you need to master as well, and look at people and see which people are the best for your business and which people have the right values and expertise to take your business to a higher level. So I think that is part of being a business owner as well, knowing how to recruit people. I mean, you need to pay them well, but they need to perform well. You need to have right targets and bonuses in place. You need to structure it in a way where some people say obviously you shouldn't do business with family and friends. I mean, I have, and so touch wood, it's been all right. But you need to have that atmosphere in the office or wherever you are within the team of, you know, that what's the word, like camaraderie. There needs to be that like team. Although it's for the business, there still you need to create that sort of that energy, that buzz, because so that you're all, you know, on the same page. And then if you do that, I think you can kind of tell people that aren't really fully on it or involved.
Is everyone in the office, or have you got dotted around?
Our office is in Milton Keynes,
Right.
so it's a bit of a mission. So not everyone's in it all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, most people are.
So how many people do you have working for you?
Not a lot. We got about 10 drivers, 10 people in the warehouse packing, and then 10 people in like the head office.
Okay.
So about 30 people.
Pretty lean for,
Yeah.
for a big
Yeah,
company.
That's
it's
what you
a
want,
small
though.
but
That's
strong
good.
team.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Pound
a
for
small but
pound.
strong team.
You seem very good at giving the advice. What's like the best piece of advice that you've received?
One from recent times, because I haven't got the greatest memory, but recently I would say someone quite close to me said to me in the middle of an argument, well, not an argument, a disagreement, don't be one of these people where the only thing you've got is money. So at the time I didn't really get it, but after I was thinking, and yeah, don't be one of these people where the only reason people know of you or remember you or value you is because of money, you know, which kind of hit me kind of hard, because yeah, I think the most important thing is, and to be remembered by and to be known for, is, you know, the people that you help, the support you give, the knowledge that you share, and helping people get to their destination. You don't want to be known just because you got money. And I think you should be remembered as a good guy, not a rich guy. So yeah, that was quite useful.
What did you change after hearing that?
Sold
Maybe
the
not
Lambos.
straight away. Sold 2 of the
I
cars.
think, you know what, the thing is, it's like a double-edged sword, because they say, don't be one of these people that the only thing you got is money and you should be helping people. And a lot of people say, money changes you, but I think it's important to remind some of those people that money changes the people around you as well. And some people get envious, some people get jealous, some people they feel entitled. So I think what I would say, what I changed is, help people, but people need to want to be helped, and people need to put in the work if they feel like they should be entitled to something as well. So I think, just be like a good, kind person instead of, just a rich person.
Have you ever found yourself in the early years when you started to come into money and you were getting the nice cars, did you ever kind of feel as if you might have lost yourself at times because you got so engrossed in the hustle?
Yeah, I feel like we're in a system or a trap, if you like, where you need money to survive. We've been dropped in this system where everything is, kind of money related wherever you look, so I think, yes, we need money to survive, and yes, we all need to work and we all need to make money, but don't fall into the trap where you're constantly chasing money. I think you need to balance yourself so that you don't fall into the trap where you're constantly chasing money, because then you basically forgot why you're chasing in the first place. I think once you got enough money to be comfortable, you need to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You need to, otherwise there's no point having any money in the first place. You're not put here just to make money. Money is a man-made thing. So I think you need to balance yourself. And I think if you're greedy, or if you fall into the trap of just chasing money, then it's going to be very difficult to get out. I got very complacent, I think, when I made a bit of money. Kind of, I don't know what the word is, but kind of, complacent, maybe a bit. You feel like everything's fine and you're going to live forever and you don't need to kind of worry about things anymore. You feel like you've got, endless amount of time. And I got reminded when I was on holiday in Brazil with one of my friends last year. And if there's anything that I remember in my whole life, this will be one of them. So we were on the beach, and it was the last day of the holiday, and my friend was chilling on the beach, and I thought, I'll go in the water one more time. And there were kids playing on the right, and there were families in the water swimming on the left, and there was no one in the middle. So I thought, I'll go in the middle. And that was the biggest mistake of my life, because I was in there swimming for about 10 minutes, and when I had enough, I tried to get out, and I couldn't get out. And the water was just pulling me back in, and I see these little kids waving like, no, don't come over here. And basically I was stuck in like a riptide. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but when I got out and I'd done my research, I was basically caught in like a current, and I couldn't get out, and I literally thought I was finished. I was trying to get out. My feet could just about touch the ground, but every time I'd take a step forward, I'd be dragged like 2 steps back, and I was continuously like getting out of breath. And I looked back at the waves, and I thought, I'm finished. There's no lifeguard. I'm dead. And at that moment, if there was any time in my life where I kind of worried, and it wasn't about who's going to look after my Lamborghini or what's going to happen to my house, it was, or what's going to happen to the money in my bank. It was family, people close to me, and literally, God's honest truth, I thought I was dead. I thought I thought I was going to stay in the sea in Brazil. I thought I would never get out, and I don't know how I got this literally last bit of energy to just drag myself out. But another 2 minutes, I would have collapsed. I literally no energy left. I couldn't get out of the water. It just kept sucking me back in.
Could people see that this was happening? Or?
Yeah, there was some guy watching me, and when I finally got out and I collapsed on the thing, he came up to me and he said, "Oh, I saw you were struggling." I said, "Yeah, but you didn't fucking help me." Literally, if you ever see, another point, forget about business, if you're ever in the sea and you see like where the waves are splashing, that's where to go in, because in the middle it looked really calm, and there were people swimming on the left in the waves, and there were people swimming on the right, and in the middle there was just nothing. It looked like calm, and that's where I went in, and apparently it's called a riptide. So that's where it's getting sucked back out to sea. And literally, I've never been so scared in my life.
Teach you a lesson, isn't it? Really,
100%.
So you don't know what you don't know, though, innit, as well.
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Need to start doing a course on fucking riptide.
Sam's a lifeguard. Did you know that?
Is he?
A long time ago.
Yeah, he weren't nowhere to be
Long
seen
time
when I
ago.
was driving.
That's the entrepreneur though. You want to take a different lane to everybody else.
Yeah.
You're like, you're there. I'm taking my own lane.
Then you drown.
So it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
So how important, obviously going back a second, you was talking about around the money side of things. How important is traveling to different countries? How big an impact has that been? Because I know for myself, when I went Thailand last year, like it's actually eye-opening. Like you come back and you see
How other people
how
live.
people live, and they've actually, I went out there feeling sorry for them, tip them this, tip them this, tip them this. I left feeling like they feel sorry for us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're happy, they're just driving the boat back and forth. They go get unreal food on the side for next to nothing. They're in paradise, and 90% of the jobs in the UK are just made up. Like they don't exist in like Thailand on these islands. Do you know what I mean? It's just a job within a job within a job to try and create some mad economy here and this mad rat race. But I think, for me, just going to Thailand really opened my eyes. Obviously, you're doing a lot of traveling.
I think gym and traveling have been the best forms of like anti-depression for me. I think once you travel and you go to the gym, I think you feel a lot better about yourself and the kind of stresses of life. I've been to like multiple countries, and you see how other people live and how little that they've got, and they're still happy. I've been to Brazil in like the favelas. I've been to Colombia. I've been to multiple countries, and yeah, I think we take a lot for granted as well. And I can see why people move to like different countries, and yeah, I think if any advice I could give would be to travel as much as possible.
What about you moving countries? Is that an option?
If I didn't have my family here, then I'd definitely consider it. But I know a few people that have moved to Dubai, moved to Thailand, moved to Australia. For me, as like dead as London seems sometimes, and the weather and like the taxis and all, like I'm quite of a sentimental person. So like I always drive through where I was born in Mitcham. It's not too far from where I live now, about half an hour. So I can't see myself, moving too far permanently from there.
Yeah, for sure. One of the last questions I have is, what does success look like for you?
Success for me is just being comfortable, having a sense of freedom. But I think for different people, it means different things, if flying around on a private jet makes you feel successful, then you should go and do that. If helping the homeless and raising money for charities, if that's your idea of success, then I think you should do that. But I don't think success should always be associated with, finances and money, because at the end of the day, money was man-made, and you can't take it with you. All the cars and the big houses, they're never really yours. You're more like renting them, because once you die, they go to someone else or they end up in a scrapyard. So I don't think your idea of success should be related to something that, is going to be in someone else's hands at some point. I think it should be more about what you achieve and, in my opinion, how many people you can help. People that I used to look up to when I was younger in the terms of business, and I thought, they're successful and, I want to be like them, these multi-billionaires. And then as you grow up and you learn, you think, there's a lot of people struggling in the world, and there's a lot of people that have got way too much money. So are these people as successful in terms of like life achievements as you once thought? Probably not. How many numbers you got in your bank account, I don't think should be deemed as successful or not successful, is the answer.
I hope this isn't too intrusive, but like, what is the value of Fireaway today, roughly?
So I think normally in this industry, you can probably get like a 10x on your yearly profit. Because I mean, as a brand, we turn over like 60 million, but they say, as they say, turnover is vanity and profit is sanity. So it doesn't matter how much you're turning over; it matters how much profit you're making. So normally in this industry, you can get like 10x, so 10 times your yearly profit. Last year we made just under 1.4 million, so 10x is about 14 million. But having said that, because we're just getting started and we got a lot of things in motion, when we recently went on Crowdcube, which is a crowdfunding website, it was valued at 20 million. So based on that, we sold 2% of that on Crowdcube. So we raised about 500,000 for that. So
it's pretty impressive.
2.5%. Yeah.
Very impressive.
When you do that, is that to fund the growth, or is that taking money off the table?
It was to fund the growth, and also it was a marketing strategy as well, because I think 810 people invested on that Crowdcube website. Some invested 50 quid, some invested $1,000, some invested 20 grand. So now you've got 810 brand ambassadors, which you hope would become customers as well. So it was a bit of both, but I think it was a good decision.
And how can people find you on social media? What's the tag?
It's me, Mario, but mainly on the website, which is myname.com.
Amazing.
Put 'em in.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much,
you
bro.
coming
Thank
on,
you.
man.
I appreciate you
Appreciate it.
having me.
That's sick, man.
Ledge.
Nice one.